Now we turn to Amy Kraft, who will show us what the future of farming might look like.
The world population is growing, and by 2050, it's expected to increase from 6 billion to 9 billion. Some people are wondering how we're going to feed everybody. One man is proposing a drastic reworking of the greenhouse as the best way to do this.
So a vertical farm is a way of envisioning agriculture inside the city.
This is Dr. Dickson Despommier. For the past 10 years, he has been traveling the world sharing his concept of urban vertical farms.
And it uses a technology called hydroponics and aeroponics in order to do it.
So what might one of these vertical farms look like? Seattle-based architecture firm Weber Thompson designed the Eco Lab in 2008. The 100% self-sustainable building can adequately grow food with net zero consumption.
The best reason for vertical farming relates to what's going to happen over the next 50 years if we don't convert to some indoor farming strategy inside the urban landscape. If we continue to farm the land like we're going now, and if our population continues to grow as it is, then we will eventually exceed the carrying capacity of the land to supply food for 9 billion people. And so in another 40 years, they predict, over 80% of the world's population will live in a city or a suburb. Isn't that reason enough to think about farming in another way?
New York City already has an abundance of rooftop farms, but some say that urban farming on a scale as large as Despommier proposes is unsustainable. Science fiction author Tobias Buchel shared his thoughts via Skype.
As far as whether it's feasible to do, it is very feasible to do. But then so is like building a spacecraft and sending a few thousand people to Mars. We just can't do it right now because the economics are prohibitive. Something has to change in technology. Something has to change in terms of a threat to get us up there. And so those are why we say that's why people can kind of say, oh, it's a science fictional concept.
But perhaps the idea is not as far off as it sounds.
I think the next step is going to be to start small, learning about the systems, how they work, how your supply chain works, how your distribution cycle, all the components that are going to be there in a regular business must be addressed before anything gets scaled up over a couple of stories.
Cities all over the world, including New York, Milan, and Tokyo, have expressed interest in creating vertical farms. But until there's enough funding for a project this ambitious, looks like we'll have to use our old farming methods.
Well, that sounds like an interesting idea, Amy. So why does this doctor think we should ditch our old farming methods?
Well, Despommier is saying that we've over-farmed the land that we have, and as the population continues to grow, we're going to run out of land that we can grow crops on. And you also have to think about the transportation costs of growing, sending food into urban centers like this.
So when can we see one of these vertical farms built?
Well, some people are saying that we'll see one as early as, the next year or two. And people like Dan Albert are working with ecological designers to perhaps turn an abandoned building into a small-scale vertical farm.
Well, thanks for that story.
All right, thank you.